Sean, aka Canadian Footy Guy from the 6 Yard Line podcast, coming to you with a preview of Liverpool versus Newcastle. Boy, oh boy, this is going to be the match of the weekend. Well, you know what? There's going to be two big, hotly anticipated matches depending on fan bases, but I'm here to talk about Liverpool. So, they're heading up to St. James Park to take on Newcastle. And we know Newcastle fans aren't really, don't really have anything good to say about Liverpool right now. I'm sure everyone has heard of, certain player who isn't playing right now. There's been a lot of back and forth in the media this week between player and club. And of course, because Liverpool apparently is the team that he wants to go to, and we know we've already put out a bid for him, but that's a conversation for another day. But that is basically the hot topic and has all Newcastle fans up in arms, hating everything and anything Liverpool. So the Reds are heading up to take on a very heated team that they're going to be ready to take us on. So again, in my opinion, this is the matchup of the weekend. What do you guys think? What can we anticipate? We are going in there limping a little, at least on our right back position. So if you haven't heard already, Jeremy Frimpong is out. I believe he's out till after the September window, so we're probably looking into October potentially when he's back. I do believe Connor Bradley was back in training this week. I don't know about his fitness. That will probably be closer to game time when we find out. We do know Joe Gomez can play there. I'm sure there's a couple other players that can drop into that position if need be. Did Curtis Joseph do it one time? I think possibly, but we'll see what happens. How Arne Slot decides to set up his lineup. Maybe he tweaks it up and goes with a three-man back line. We have our new young center back in Giovanni, so maybe he gets some playing time. He's a big kid, by the way. Tall kid. I think he's taller than Allison, so that would be an intimidating factor having those three at the back line. However, still missing, potentially both your right backs is not something the team wants to be dealing with going into match week 2, right? Especially hostile environment like St. James Park. But I'm confident that Arne Slot will come up with a plan to, when need to defend. But our attack, I don't think they can match up on equal levels, especially when you don't have a player like Alexander Isak in your lineup. Anthony Gordon, top talent, but he alone isn't going to be able to do it. So it will, like I said, it will be interesting to see what happens come Monday. I am highly anticipating it. What sucks for me is I'm here in Canada, and that game's at 3 p.m. on Monday, and I'm at work. But don't worry, I will have that game on by hook or high water. I ain't missing that. Whether it's on my phone, whether I decide to log in on my computer, I will watch this game via legal stream, by the way. Just so everyone knows, I have Fubo here. We have Fubo, or whatever it's called, here in Canada. So I'll be logging into my actual account. Anyways, what does everybody think about this weekend, right? Outside of the drama we already know, that's another conversation. In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll touch on it at the end. But we know Newcastle. They've struck out on a lot of their targets that they've been looking at this summer transfer window. Us, on the other hand, have basically hit every target we've pretty much wanted. So to a certain extent, of course. We know there's also the rumor of one of our defenders potentially moving on out with Tsimikas. Again, I've said this on my other channel. We can't go with three left backs. That's my opinion. Unless one of them magically can start playing right back, or I don't like seeing Robertson specifically playing as a center back. So for me, keep Robertson as a left back. I know, team may be worried about injuries, but for me, you have two capable with Kirk as there now. You just need one backup for him. Anyways, we'll still have a strong lineup, right? I don't believe any of our other starters will be missing. I believe Gravenberch will be back for this weekend because he did miss last weekend. I think it was due to suspension more so than the pregnancy of his baby. Congratulations, by the way. Well, blessings to you and your wife, or girlfriend. I don't even know. My bad. But yeah. Liverpool will have a good lineup regardless of missing somebody on the right back. Newcastle, on the other hand, who will be in net? Will it be Nick Pope again, who started last week, or will Ramsdale get his opportunity? I'm going with Nick Pope. I think, he played well enough to earn another opportunity this week at least. But again, Eddie Howe may have something else in mind, so we'll wait and see. But you know what? It's not going to be an easy win for us. We've gotten the win out there before on some beautiful occasions. We all remember the Nunez game, but it's a different ball game. Will Ekitike get another goal? I'm confident he will. I like what he brings to the table. I expect him to continue to be a threat up front. I did know his ball control was as good as it is, as well as his passing and his he's a lot stronger. He looks like a tall, thinner forward, but he's a lot stronger than I realized, can hold off players. So I like what he's bringing to the table. Want to see more. Again, he scored in the Community Shield as well as scoring first game of the season. So will it be back-to-back? We know what Mo Salah does. Mo Salah will do what Mo Salah does, and I expect him to be a threat on the right wing. You know him. If he cuts in and gets a right opportunity, that ball is going in the back of the net. So fingers crossed we see some of that sweet Mo that we saw last season. Again, Wirtz, I like what he brings to the table. Folks, don't worry if you're not happy with what you've seen so far. It's early. He's gelling, and I see a lot of the vision he's trying to do with certain players, and he might not have hit the mark, the pass perfectly, but I see what he wants to do. And once he gets familiar with his players, where they like to be, it will all come together. Things like this can't happen overnight. Like what they may do in a practice is totally different than actual live game environment. So expect it to take a month or two, for them to fully, find their natural connections on the pitch as they play. But again, love what he brings to the table. I expect big things from him this season, but I think he'll play a pivotal role this coming Monday against Newcastle. That's pretty much all I really got to say with regard to the preview. Like, let's be real. It's going to be a clash, right? Both teams are anticipating to be, fighting. Well, I'm confident Liverpool will be fighting again for the title. I do believe Newcastle has the skill and has, the coaching. And if they can add the right pieces, they can be fighting again for a top 5 position this coming by the end of the season. My take, unfortunately for Newcastle fans, don't get mad at me. I don't think you're strong enough to win the title this year, but again, you will be a competitive team throughout the season. There's no doubt about that. Eddie Howe knows what he's doing. He'll always have his team ready. Again, sometimes he just goes up against a better opponent. But that being said, Newcastle does have Champions League this year, so we'll see how Champions League and League, if they're able to hold up this season. They did struggle a couple years ago when they were there. We'll see what happens this time around. But again, we all know where my personal love, sits. So I'm hoping Liverpool is able to steal the 3 points on the road on Monday. Going to be a hard one, but I'm confident in my Reds. I believe we're just too deep throughout the pitch to stop us at the end of the 90. Yes, we saw what happened against Bournemouth on last week, Friday. However, the team, they had their moment, but at the end of the day, we won the game. So we, even if it was late in the game that we had to get the 2 late goals, but at the end of the day, we did it. And that's what top teams do. They find the way when it all seems like, looks like a draw. No. Top teams find a way to get the 3 points. So I'm confident on the road our Reds will do what they got to do. Touch on this Isak situation. Look, I'd love to see him as a Red. I'm kind of tired of this conversation though, and I'm sure most of you are. We've seen even rumors since the whole him releasing his statement, the club releasing their statement that Liverpool's preparing another bid. But we all know, unless Newcastle actually have what they believe is a, top class striker as a replacement, they're not going to let him go. So I'm pretty sure, I shouldn't say I'm pretty sure. You know what? Stranger things have happened. I just don't think it's going to happen anymore. Especially this late in the window. I mean, I shouldn't say this late in the window. Still got, 2 weeks maybe? No, a week coming this Monday. September 1st is the transfer deadline day. So we'll see. Do I want it to happen? Hell yes. We signed Isak, and if the rumor they're still looking for a winger, and they do that, they're looking not just to win the Premier League. They're looking to end this season with at least 2 trophies. I'm already confident that is their goal. But if you sign Isak and a winger, and another center back, let's not forget there's still the Mark Gahey rumors, and that one, if anything, will be a late signing. But again, when we do a full episode, Noel and I, transfer deadline day, hopefully we'll be able to touch on all deals that have already happened and anything that happens the final day. But that will be, if anything, closer to transfer deadline day than anything else. So I don't expect anything. Well, obviously not this weekend, and sounds like Palace is going to try and have them ready for the next Champions League game, whatever game or not Champions League, sorry, Europa Conference League. Their second away match, second leg match is Wednesday or Thursday. I don't even know when they play, but whatever. Not a Palace fan, so sorry. Don't shoot me. Anyways, folks, like I said, Liverpool heading up to St. James. I anticipate it will be a match to watch. So wherever you are, make sure you tune in. I will be definitely watching. That's it for me today on the 6 Yard Line podcast. Don't forget, Noel and I will be back for a full episode coming this weekend. We'll be, let me see when we'll be doing it after sometime Sunday evening, post game we'll cover the weekend's game. However, we'll probably do my own recap of Liverpool's game versus Newcastle. So stay tuned for all of that. Anyways, if you're not already, make sure you subscribe, because we need your help as much as we can, or as much as you can. And of course, big thumbs up. Need those likes. So from Noel, who's chilling at home as he should be on a good Friday evening, it's your boy Sean, aka Canadian Footy Guy, saying I'm out. Peace. And you know what?